Dark and Daddy. D6. Let's harass the pawn. Knight F6. And E5. I was hoping one would play D4 so I could show what I was going to play, but that's okay. It's transposed into an E4 position. This pawn... Let's start with Knight C6. I want to harass this bishop. Oh, they caught me. Okay. Let's get rid of that bishop then. Damn. I don't like what he's doing. Let's still chase the bishop away. I gotta get rid of this knight. I didn't want to take. I want to remove it. Remove the knight with the pawn. That actually loses the game. And if you can tell me why it loses the game, you're doing a very good job. Black is dead lost here. But I want to see people at this Elo punishment. Do you see what's wrong with the position? There's something off here about my pieces. That's a hint. Try to spot it. And it was missed. B4 and my knight has no squares. Can't go back because I took away the square. It has no safe squares elsewhere. But we live to fight another day. I'm going to trade. And make space for the knight to retreat. Make sure your pieces have escape squares. And now... I'm moving my bishop out of the way because I want to go f5. Because I can't go d5, it's covered. But f5 is safe, and I can activate my rook on the f file. So, we'll take that. Everything else is well guarded, right? Maybe queen d7 next. Okay, here, we're going to recapture, of course. And now I can use the f file, queen d7, and slide the rook from a8 to f8. And put pressure on this knight. Good move, good move. Let me try something. Let me try bishop here and trade off some pieces. By trading away this, I'm hoping I get more control over the d4 square. And my bishop wasn't doing anything on e7. Let's bring the lady in. Queen f6. I can triple on the file. Let's move out of the way. I've improved my queen from d8 to g6. Still intending to bring it to f8. Bring the rook in. I would consider going b4 as white. But you gotta watch out for h5 as well, eh? Something to consider. Let's take with a rook. We have some pressure on the g file, and my knight's about to slide into d4. I have a mating idea. Knight d4, h5, knight here. Okay, so we're going to start with h5. Knight here, knight d4, queen back, rook takes g2, knight takes g2, knight f3 check, king here, and queen f5. That should win. So knight d4, queen goes back. Now I take. Ran out of time. But what I was planning here was knight takes g2, because knight's defending. Knight f3 check, king can't go to h2, king goes to h1, and queen f5. And I just want to take h3, and that's checkmate. And no matter what, you can't stop that. You move your knight out of the way, I take. You go knight here, I take with the queen, and queen h2 mate is coming. So, would have been checkmate in a couple of moves. My opponent played well, they were just a bit slow. See you, Roy, thanks for hanging out. Alrighty, d6. d6 versus everything. Okay, bishop d3 is solid. Let's try a fianchetto. This is a good setup by white. I like what they're doing. And now I have a couple breaks to challenge the center. I can go for c5 or e5. So let's try c5 this game. e5 makes sense. I want to fight for the space, so let's go e6. And let's get rid of that. Perfect. Now I have rook e8 with a threat on e4. Knight takes e4 because it's pinned. Knight c3, okay. So now this is transposed into like a Benoni. I'm going to try c4. If the bishop takes, then I take. Bishop c2, I'll go b5 and try to destabilize this knight because I really want to win the e4 pawn. White's playing well. Yeah. Now I can't go b4, so I'm going to go a6 and make sure I don't lose that pawn. Okay, so this is a common thing. I got the pawn on d6. It supports the c5 and e5 squares. But I don't want to put something on e5 because I'm already putting pressure on the e4 pawn. So where do you think the knight on b8 should go? I need to develop the knight on b8 and the bishop on c8, but the bishop on c8 doesn't have squares. So let's develop this knight first. Where can we space it out that makes sense? Well, we can go d7, that's the only square, but where are we going afterwards? d7 is the start of the solution. So we go knight d7, but we don't want to keep the knight there. We want a future for that. Knight d7, knight c5. Well done, grilled peppers. Yes. Knight c5. Then we can put more pressure on this, and we're not hindering our own pieces. Bishop g5 is a really good move. White's got a good setup here, making things hard. I don't know where to put this bishop, so maybe I'm going to move my queen first. My first thing I want to try at this ELO is h6. Are they going to give me their dark squared bishop? No. That's no fun. I don't know where to move this bishop. I don't know if it should go here. I'm going to move my queen out of the way, so I'm not pinned. Down to a minute. And my opponent's playing well. Really well. Okay, let's bring this knight out of the way. I wasn't sure if white was starting to take and to snap this pawn off on h6. So I'm moving the knight out of the way. I do open up my bishop. But I do need to figure out what to do with this at some point. Okay, I'm going to bring it here. If knight takes, I can't take back with the bishop because this is loose, so I have to take back with the pawn. My opponent's playing very well. Now I have another dilemma. My knight on c5, I don't have the same pressure on e4 because my rook's disconnected. So I'm actually going to reroute the knight to d6 potentially. And also open up the queen diagonal. I still need to know what to do with this. I could go f5 and try to destabilize with f5. That's another option. Wow, a4, okay. Bishop d7. I could have gone b4 as well, but I figure I might as well move my bishop off the back rank and connect my rooks. Now maybe I go b4, but I wanted to make sure all my pieces were part of the game. Queen here. This is impressive. Okay, let's go b4. Wow. Let's try to support this pawn. Push. Now my opponent's playing very well right now. If knight takes, I'm gonna go queen b4. This is maybe the strongest 600 I've ever dealt with. Let's go queen here. I want to gang up on this pawn. Now I can take. But I had to like slowly, there were some good moves by white here. Let's overprotect this. Solidify this. And bring my king close. Nice, okay. Wow, that is really strong. Really strong, well done. That was just a build-up game. D6, here we go. Okay. It could transpose to a Dutch. But I'll continue with knight f6. And I know I've been showing that the bishop can go to g7. I'm going to go back to the basics and put the bishop on e7. But first, what did I do? Knight d7, bishop d3, e5. I want to support the e5 push with my knight and pawn. And they castled. Unfortunately for my opponent, Junior, when your bishop and knight are lined up like this, and I have a knight on f6, I can play e4 and fork your pieces. And that's a tough start. Maybe it's theory to allow the fork. Grab that. And just move back. I'm happy. I'm gonna say I'm happy being up a piece, but no, he wants me to be up 2 pieces. That's why we play d6 versus everything. There we go. Sorry, they just canceled my Uber Eats order like an hour and a half in because the guy got lost. What is going on? What? Sorry. Okay. Can I take? Yeah. Now I just want to get castled because I'm up. Let's move out of the way. So I'm worried about this fork because I did the same thing. But fortunately, I have bishop c5 check. If you go e5. Now when you line your queen and rook up like this, there's another issue. Bishop g4. But I was hoping to see e5 so I could play bishop c5 check sidestep. Okay. Thank you for the rook. I could have taken the queen too, everything was winning. And now we're going to... I got a combo for you. We're going to take here. Check. Well, this guy is super generous. Thank you. Let's do another. d6. Knight f6. Knight c3 should be played. We're not seeing it enough, but if you like to defend like this, that's fine. Try e5. All right, now we can fianchetto like a king's Indian. We can play bishop e7. I'm gonna go bishop e7. Just a different setup. And castle. Quick little castle here. And that's okay. White is pushing these pawns without developing their king side. I think that's puts them at risk of being stuck. Especially moves like this. I just bring my knight in. Now I'm castled. I have 3 pieces developed. And okay. So if I really want to stop white from castling, I can consider bishop here or bishop here. They both look good to me. I can also consider this move. This is just how to use a lead in development. Let's begin with queen b6. Preventing the castle. I can always line up the bishop here as well. And I'm not too worried about white blocking the diagonal because b2s lose. So let's develop our final minor, bishop g4, and we're preparing knight d4. Is that not worried about this? Because now this is loose. So my queen is actually putting pressure on 2 things. And how do you defend the rook? Eat the rook, thank you. Going to eat the pawn, thank you. And I don't know where this knight's headed. So I'm just gonna move my queen back to somewhere safer. Now I can just retreat and make sure it doesn't get stuck. Whereas my opponent doesn't care about their queen. Judging by this move. Thank you, Steve. Just missing the pin. And this move is not gonna cut it. I'm just gonna take your rook. I'm up a queen, so I just can trade everything. Knight c7. Thank you. Queens move backwards. Let's attack this bishop with my knight, and I'm hitting this. Steve, my bishop can take your bishop. Our bishops are the same. They work the same. Chop. GG, Steve. Roban 15. Good luck. e6. And we're gonna go e5 right away. Oh, that's a quick pre-move. Let's develop that knight. This is what we want. We lose castling, but the queens are off, and it's not as bad as it looks. I'm going to go c6 and build an igloo. Well, I was going to build an igloo, but the knight and the bishop are on a square that I'm gonna have to target. It's not as simple as the other variations. You can go knight g5 and win my rook, but I'm gonna win that knight once you win the rook. So we count the pieces. I'm gonna win 2 minor pieces for a rook, and we're gonna see how that plays out. Because I can trap this knight by going g6, bishop g7, or maybe something else. But I'm not worried about that knight. It's not going anywhere. So I'm actually going to develop some other pieces first. I'm going to take this, thank you. This knight's going to die later on. I just got to make sure the rest of my pieces join the game. So let's bring this knight in. At some point, my king will move up and my rook will just simply take the knight because it has no escape square. So let's go here. Attack the knight. And what do we do now? King e7. And this is why I wasn't focused on trapping the knight right away, because it can't move. And I might as well improve the rest of my pieces. Okay, we'll trade. I'll take the knight, and now we have an imbalance. I have a knight and a bishop. Sorry, I have 2 knights versus a rook. Now, yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. I'm going to take back with a knight. I have a passed pawn as well. This is a move I like to see, because now I can play bishop c4 and create an outpost by supporting it with b5. And white's rooks can't do anything about this configuration. There's no pawns to harass this. I'm going to try to activate this rook on h8. That's not doing anything. So let's go rook h to a8 and a5. And I'm going to get a file for my rook. a4. That's a good attempt if I take my bishop hangs, but I can take this pawn instead. And I can take back with the pawn. I'm going to take back with the bishop, so I have 3 connected passed pawns. Rook a4 to defend. What's my next move? c5. What's the move after that? c4. What's the move after that? c3, as long as every pawn is protected. Okay, my knight's being hit. I can go here, I can go back. But I like the potential of centralizing the knight. All right, Robin. You versus 3 passed pawns. Good luck. Let's push this guy. Let's push this guy. Oh, you checked me. Gotta move up. And we push. And we push this one. A nice little configuration here. Let's push that. I could keep pushing, but I'm going to improve my king. I could make a queen, but I want to bring my king in anyways. I'm going to make a queen next move, don't worry about it. Everything is nicely coordinated. And there we go. Oyabasu, good luck. Let's go d6. d3. What's that? All right. Wolfie and Keto. Especially with the dark squares looking pretty juicy. Oh, this is a very tempting move. Do you see this? Weak dark squares. I'm gonna go c5 first. Okay. You're pinning my pawn. What if I go h6? You move back. Now I go e5 and I'm bringing this idea into play. Check. So, king losing castling privileges. When the queens are off, it's not the end of the world because it's hard to checkmate without a queen. My queen is on the board, very much alive. So white's king being in the middle of the board is not a plus when I have my most dangerous piece still roaming. I'm just going to castle and just bring artillery. Maybe I have to watch out for some pawns, but the artillery's coming. Let's go I feel like playing an annoying move like queen f2, but I'll hold off. My queen, I'm worried it gets hit a bit. I'm gonna move it back. I don't want it to get trapped. This isn't the best move, but I was just lacking a bit of real estate. All right, rook d8. What do I want to do next? Pawn to d5. When the king is on c2 vulnerable like this, I want to bring pieces in and open up the position. I could be going bishop e6. I'm not sure if this pawn is, you know, really important, but okay, if we want to be really safe, we'll go b6. The thing is, I'm not in a rush because white's still not developed fully. And they go c4 to stop d5. Okay, here I'm going to go g5 just to take away any counterplay over here. Well, that's a free pawn, isn't it? Let me grab that. Thank you. Let me grab that. Thank you. Now I push. My queen defends. They're not going to see it. The queen defends. Thank you. Good game. Alrighty. c4, d6 versus everything. e3. Not a challenging move, so a lot of options here. I want to grab the center. We'll go e5. I don't get this move at all. But I'm just going to set up the Fildor structure that I've been using earlier. We go c6, knight f6, bishop e7, queen c7, and castle. It's a lazy approach, but you get out of the opening usually okay. Because with pawns on c6 and d6, you cover a lot of annoying squares that could harass the queen. And this is an obvious recapture. I'm gonna do take with the pawn, not the knight. Taking with the pawn opens up more squares for this bishop. And there you go. It's a good thing this bishop's open. I mean, we could take with the knight as well. But we'll develop and grab the pawn. Thank you very much. Bishop c4, castle. And sometimes I will want to push this pawn up. I'm going to play h6 first, just so I don't have to deal with knight g5. Then we're going to e4. Ah, okay. e4 does not work. There's two attackers, only one defender. So we have to still prepare e4. Knight e4. Up a pawn. So I'm going to be okay with the trade. Especially because I have to figure out where I want to put this knight. And it was being blocked. Now I can just recycle a knight there, and now this bishop is open. I'm looking at e4, but Premjan did not recognize my move. g3. Gonna have to take the free queen. Thank you. Bishop g4. What kind of move is bishop g4? Take the queen. That's why you're single. Now we go bishop g4. Develop with tempo. An impressive move. Preparing f3. forking my minor pieces. I'm gonna go g5 and reply aggressively. The knight could go here. This pawn is pinned, but I have something planned. When you're up a queen like this, you can try to trade everything off. That's the principled lazy way. We can also go for checkmate. We'll go for checkmate, and we're trading. I win a knight, they win the bishop. But try to guess the next move. You can guess the next move. You can pat yourself on the back. I want to checkmate, and I need to make an important move that keeps my opponent restricted. Puts them in a box where I can then bring more pieces and checkmate them in that box. Dr. Lord Mayonnaise, very impressive. Bishop f3, stop the f-pawn. Correct. Cuts the king off. Freezes the f-pawn. And the follow-up question is, what's my next sequence? If I want to checkmate white ASAP, what's a good attempt here? There's multiple answers, but clearly it has to do with getting close to the king. I'm gonna go queen d7 with hopes of playing queen h3 next move, and that's a mating net. If you're playing white here, you probably want to move the rook. Not there because the bishop. Rook e1 would have been better to prepare this. Because here, I can just take. Is that? No? Thank you. Give me all the pieces. But white did delay checkmate. Check. We didn't get the checkmate, so they did a good job there. But we'll take it. Alrighty. Next game. e6. At this level, people are not taking the center, and they probably should be, but understandable that they don't. So I'm just going to use the pawns, develop comfortably, have the system in place, c6, d6, e5. One of my favorite setups. 5. But just because you start off with the first move, whether it's d6 or c6, doesn't mean you can't push the pawn twice. If your opponent's really not taking the center, sometimes the best move is to simply move the pawn again and grab further space, more space. So right here, knight f3, just gonna go knight f6. Basic threat of e4. Opponent's ignoring it. I'm gonna go e4. Just fork the two pieces. Knight's defending it. Knight g5, thank you for the bishop. Just getting good at pawn play is something that's going to help people improve a lot. h6, force the knight back. I probably will go d5 because that opens up this bishop. This bishop already has a path. Bishop f5 or bishop g4, but yeah, I probably will go d5. Don't have to stay passive the whole time. Let's go d5. Up a knight for a pawn. So there's a trade. Not worried about that. And now my next move, maybe bishop d6, bishop f5. Queen g3 is a slick move. Queen g6, hitting d3 and g2. Problem is, rook h3 was played. And there's a better move than queen g6 after rook h3. And if you don't see it, I'm telling you, look at the whole board again. Make sure you're understanding the full power of all your pieces. Because this bishop is long ranged and it can just take it. And now that the rook is gone, What else is hanging now? This pawn. Cheers. And all of a sudden, just up a full rook. So, for me, when I do the speedruns, yeah, like I might win some of these games just because people hang material, but try to get the good opening either way. But I'll take the free pawns while they're there. And I'll trade when I can. Check. And trade. And I want to keep trading, so I'm going to go bishop b4, develop, and prepare to trade some more. Yep, that's basic trades. As they're even trades, don't have to think much. Why don't we push the h-pawn to passer? Push. Oh, that's an unfortunate move. Now the bishop is stuck. Push. We're gonna keep pushing. Rook's gonna come defend. But now the rook is just passive. We've contained that rook. I just need to bring these other pieces out. So let's activate this rook. What's the best move to do that? Should we play knight d7? Queenside castle, bring the rook in? Or is there another way to activate the rook? There's another way. Pawn to a5. Hoping to initiate a takes b4 and use the a file. Yes, a5. Good job, Lucas. Incorporate this rook, and rooks like open files. Here we go. That's a good move. But I'm going to take this pawn first because it's with check. And the problem is, where can the king go? It can only go on the back rank. Once the king goes on the back rank, what's the next move? Let's think ahead. The king has to go back, can't go forward, so 3 options. What can we do with our newly activated rook? And take this pawn, but I see something funny here. The king prevents this rook from covering a1, so it's gonna grab an additional check. Keep it simple. Good game. Special hello to MapRail. Hello MapRail. Sorry, I had some guests this week. They just left today, so looking forward to catching up with you. Okay, we're playing up here. Go d6. 900, highest rated opponent to date. Knight c3, we're seeing some better moves already. I'm going to go d6, e5, knight d7. The knight doesn't stay here long term, it just supports the center. Because I have the igloo, right? The igloo over here, but the queen. I don't want to take. That just gives white a great square for the knight to jump in and harass everything. If there's a recapture, I'll take back the pawn so that the pawn here can cover any knight squares. Bishop g5. How would I harass you first? How about... Now I develop. I got in this move for free. Bishop e7 and castle. It's a compact setup, but one of the benefits is sometimes when you have a compact setup, people overplay it and they hang something while they push you back. It's a move I like to see. It's just not very threatening. How about knight c5 now? We got 2 knights attacking e4. Opponent does not register that. So I'll take the pawn. Thank you, thank you. And that's a center pawn. Now I attack the bishop. Trading is good, but we also have to learn how to harass effectively. And I'm actually going to try that right now. I'm going to throw in this check. Because while my knight's temporarily on e4, it's being attacked right now. It controls some squares close to the king. And let's say right here, I could just trade everything and play up a pawn in the endgame. but I'm going to do something else with this pin. I'm gonna get rid of the dark square bishop. And I'm gonna put pressure on the pin. Just in case white castles, I can take the knight. Right now I can do it. It's an even trade. But if white castles, or they play f4, well, let's take. Can I take this? Is there a trick? Check. I can put my bishop here, or I can swing my king over. Yeah. That looks like a free pawn. Rook here. We can trade because we're up 2 pawns, but the king is on e1. I think there's a better move than trading. We're not going to trade and we want to checkmate. What should we do? We could go g5 and defend the bishop, but white's king is wide open. Bishop g3, good job. That's right, Maloof. Check. You got to block with a rook or move the king up. Let's continue. Continue the initiative. We can castle now or develop with check. Check again. Now the knight can block, but white's, oh, high energy, king e3. Let's flush the king out. The further the king goes up the board while I have all these heavy pieces, a higher chance of a checkmate. So let's go check. Forces the king here. Right? And then how do we try to checkmate? What should we do now? We could go f5. White's going to sacrifice. We don't have to make things hard. Wait, the queen's hanging. Oh, I didn't see that. However, I don't know what. I'm sorry. I should have taken that queen. I'm going for checkmate. Well, I'll make it up. I did not realize. I forgot the queen was hanging because I didn't expect this move. Don't support these guys. Check. Alrighty. But in truth, what I did is even better because after check, if the king went back, queen e3 or rook e3 would have been checkmate. So it was a strategic decision. And after king f5, what is the move for black? The most efficient move. It's not g6 check. White can play queen takes g6 and keep sacrificing. King can't go back. Go rook e5. We got a nice checkmate in the middle of the board. No more squares. Yes, rook e5. So it worked out. Yes. Sacrificing the bishop was a... Maybe I got a brilliancy. No brilliant moves. No great moves. Never mind that. Whatever. Here we go again. e4. Let's go d6. e5. This is a standard setup for white. You can kind of transpose to an e4, e5 opening. But in the Spanish, your knight is usually on c6. When I play some of the d6 systems, I actually put my knight on d7. But you can pick and choose. This is just a very flexible structure, though. Compact, but easy to play. Although we're going to get deeper in the opening as the rating progresses. So when you have knights that are tethered like this, in case white recaptures, they take on f6, I'm going to take back with a knight. Because this knight, it doesn't have like massive squares over here. I'd rather just put it on f6 and not deal with figuring out how to reroute it. But b3 was just played. So spot the problem with b3. The problem with b3 is the good part is it really secures this bishop, right? So if I go knight b6, I can take the bishop. It's just going to be an even trade. There's 2 pawns defending it. That bishop is super well guarded in the context of pieces attacking the bishop. Problem is, those pawns also block the bishop's escape squares. So the bishop's trapped if I attack it with a pawn. If I attack with a piece, it's not trapped because that's just an even trade. But you don't want to give up your bishop for a pawn. Does that change anything? No. And what did I say? I'm going to recapture the knight. So this bishop opens up. Not panicking here. This bishop is trapped regardless. And if you're in white's shoes, you want to get the most for your trapped piece. You should probably take here. Take here, you get 2 pawns for a piece. Almost full material back. Take on f7, like what my opponent did. You just get 1 pawn, and to make matters worse, you activate my rook. Sure, you get this move to harass it, but now my rook all of a sudden has some more potential on the f-file. I mean, okay, this was high energy, I respect it. But when we took back with our knight on f6, I said that opens up the bishop. So, thank you for the knight. Thanks for walking into the bishop. And what do we do when we're up a lot of material? Trade. Take, 1 for 1. And offer a queen trade, 1 for 1. We do 1 for 1 trades, and white will be left with nothing. But if they don't trade, I just gained a move for free. But the trade is perfect. Thank you, thank you. And what's the next move here? With this nice pawn setup, I like b4. I like this move. Taking the knight off that square. Now this is loose. Okay, you're attacking this pawn. I could take this first, but I don't even need to do 1 for 1, because I can just go b5. This is still going to hang. But where's this knight headed? Knight b6. We can take the pawn on a2. I like that move. It's a full free pawn. But I need to investigate this knight. Is this knight really allowed to just come into black's position without any support? Maybe there's something else there. So what do you do? Rook takes a2, or can we look for something better? Rook a2 is more than enough, but I'm a bully. So I'm gonna go rook a6 and ask, where's this knight going? Rook b8 would have done something similar as well. Because my pawns are placed here on purpose. I'm taking away all the squares. And then I'm going to be up 3 pieces, and then I can stop talking and just autopilot. Thank you. Thank you. Got the knight defending it. Oh. There's a rule in chess, en passant. Thank you. That's a free pass pawn, appreciate it. Now I'm going to slide this rook behind the pass pawn. I'm going to take this free pawn. And I'll have world domination. I'll be wealthy. Rook here. Rook here. Push. And profit. You've seen it before. And one knight can fork all your pieces and just start taking stuff if you're playing badly. I got rid of that knight. So there's no more hope. Masterclass Ian. Good luck. Let's go knight f6 and tickle this pawn. Some people like being tickled. Is that a free pawn? Knight takes pawn. Is there a defender? I don't see it, so I'm gonna grab it. Don't be afraid of ghosts. And if sometimes you take a pawn and it backfires, you learn from that. But you gotta be willing to take it. Alrighty. Sure. Figure we can trade. And this is an example where I played d6 to start off the game. I'm up a pawn, but white's ahead in development. I'm not afraid to play d5 and spend that extra move just to close this bishop. I don't have to keep the pawn on d6 just because that was my first move, right? Okay, we want to complete development, so I can go e6 and castle, which I like. But the only issue is it blocks the bishop. So maybe I'll move this bishop and then go e6. And then I castle without blocking both. Okay, Try that. I like what white's doing though. If you're going to be down a pawn, you need to attack your opponent before they can castle. Try to get me while my king is still stuck here, while my pieces. So bishop here, knight here, or knight here would have been more challenging. Those would have been good moves. Bishop here looks a little slow. Not a bad thing, but I was worried about some other opportunity. Oh, here we go. Grab that. That just helped me. Thank you. I got the bishop pair. I got a nice center. They touch this pawn. The rook hangs. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Well, we're up pawn. So I'm going to offer a trade and be real boring, real technical. Trade a rook. You want to trade queens? You don't want to trade queens. Okay, let me tickle this pawn. I gained a move for free. Okay, I will take that pawn. Thank you very much. And now there's a trade. That doesn't make sense. I'm up two pawns now. So what do we have to deal with here? Let's move the rook to the A file so we can start pushing this. Oh, we can't go A5 because there's two defenders. Okay, if we can't go A5, what other parts of the board can we improve? I think we can push either the E or the C pawn. No, because they're still useful. Oof. Did not see this move. That's actually a good move. Got me. I'll retreat. Now that's the move I wanted to see. Because now this is no longer defended. Thank you. Oh, that pawn is pinned. Bishops go backwards, don't forget. Thank you. Yay. Yay because I won, and yay because Maloof subscribed on Kick, and Badkins came in and gifted 10 subs. Thanks for watching another episode of my D6 speedrun. If you like our content, all I ask is that you subscribe to the channel below. It's gonna notify you every time we release a video. And if you want to move on to the next episode of the speedrun, just click over there.